To the surprise of literally no one, now we have the 15 sacred shards to get a guaranteed legendary character. And what are they doing? They're selling, let's see, 4, 6, 7 shards. Oh, there's the 8th shard, and I guarantee you by the end of this, we're going to be seeing more sacred shards. So that way, no matter what position you're in, let's go ahead and purchase our way the 15 sacred shards. And this event, 15 Sacreds to guarantee a legendary helior, has received consistent negative press from essentially every major YouTuber for raid at this point. And if you've ever wondered, how can they consistently come out with very heavily paywalled, monetized, kind of cash grab greedy events and still make a ton of money off this? It's because of the comments you see on videos like this one, where the person will say, hey, you have no idea what you're talking about. I would easily pay $400 for that champion. Back in the day, we had characters like Horden that were for sale for $50. We had the Mother Superior for, what was it, $15, right? And they could buy a couple characters. At that time, they received a decent amount of negative PR saying, hey, we really shouldn't be selling characters for flat prices in the game. And I remember a lot of people, particularly in their Discord, saying, I don't want you selling legendary champions. That ruins the fun, the pull of the game, and it makes it where anyone can just well out, for instance, and automatically get Dracomorph. So instead, what they do is they come out with the brilliant strategy of selling shards that then get you the guaranteed champion. This is effectively the exact same thing with a higher price tag. You know, it's selling legendaries with more steps. Meanwhile, we still have tournaments that are kind of offering the same rewards. I mean, we're getting an ancient shard, substat charms, a little bit of blue gear, and if I did 1,500 points instead of the 638 to get third place, I could have got 1 epic book. It would be nice if we are going to do kind of this selling these champion things to start getting sacred shards in more events and tournaments. You can get sacreds and save up a decent amount of them per month, but you have to hit Ultra Nightmare and Nightmare basically every single day and have those teams built and ready. And if you're on your main account and you've already got your teams built for Ultra Nightmare and Nightmare, the odds are you don't need too many more characters anyway. The unfortunate part about this event is the only person this event is really for is for somebody like the person in the comment who is looking to spend a huge amount of money because they just really like the character for some reason. That's the only thing this really benefits. Nobody out there is in a situation where they've scraped and saved 15 sacred shards and this event just came around and they're like, thank God, my 15 sacreds that I've been saving for a while, that I'm really hoping I get a legendary that's going to help me with my clan boss, that's going to help me with dungeons, maybe I'll beat Spider. No one's in that position and is now opening 15 sacred shards to get Helior. Helior is a great character, but is not a character that suddenly makes everything in the game better. Like, you're not suddenly going to go from, I was 2 King Nightmare to 2 King Ultra Nightmare just because you picked up Helior. The same deal, like, it's basically a miscreated monster. I mean, miscreated monster is as big of a deal, but he's an epic. I don't have a problem with the concept, which is that essentially you can get some bonuses for something you're already doing. I mean, no one's really going to have a problem with that concept, okay? The issue is that that's what it's showing itself as, but in reality what this is this is a bait for people that don't know better, that are going to go out of their way and spend way too much money to get a character they think looks cool. I even think the character looks cool. I've said this many times. I think the character is very well designed. I like the character a lot, but there's absolutely no way in hell he's worth 15 sacred shards or $400. And if you're debating of stretching out your wallet to try to get him, the art's fantastic, but he's not worth $100 per skill. Who this could be good for, however, is extremely in-game players who are sitting on 30, 40, 50 sacreds, who they just want to pick up a newer character in their collection. I can understand that would probably be a pretty good event for them because the amount of sacred doesn't really matter. To be honest, as we're looking through this, I really preferred the Countess event because ancient shards are better, in my opinion, than sacred shards. It was 150 ancient shards in order to get Countess for free. And 150 ancient shards is valued at its lowest price, about $150, $200, kind of at the maximum. So it was essentially half the price of what they're asking for Helior, and in my opinion, she is a better character. Plus, you get the chance to open more shards. And to be honest, a lot of the time people open shards, it's also for the fun and the activity of it. Not everyone opens shards only 100% demanding a certain legendary. A lot of people are just trying to have fun with the game and aren't as serious about their money. That maybe they can just afford it. Maybe they're like, hey, I spend money on eating out in theaters, and this is why I spend my money on the dopamine and fun. And there's nothing wrong with that, but be aware that if you have a certain budget on things to buy, only buy it on the good ones. And what I'm trying to warn everyone of today is this event right here, this is not the event you want to spend your $400 on. There is better events to do. They've even done them previously. If we're looking in Platinum Arena, I'm not really seeing Helior anyway. So if you're really worried about, I want to be in-game PvP competitive, he's probably not the guy for you. And there's a lot easier teams you can build for Clan Boss. There's a whole nother topic we could go down, which is actually selling, which is basically what's happening here, just with more steps. Is selling legendary champions actually good for the health of the game, or can it be really bad for the health of the game? And that's a conversation that we've actually already had, both on this channel and on basically every other channel, because we discussed it when Hoarding came out. And essentially the conclusion that at least I came to was that selling legendary champions in a game where there's not really a competitive aspect. Now, we could argue that there's clan versus clan, there's the Platinum Arena, but really, as we all know, the actual in-game of this game isn't the champions, it's the gear. Yes, you need the champions in order to put the gear on them, but once you have the champions, what makes your champion better than the next player's champion to your right is the gear you have on that character. What could be kind of exciting for me is, instead of seeing these guaranteed legendary champions or whatever, if we threw in some set bonuses into the equation. Like, what if on top of the 2x, when you open 100 ancient shards during the ancient 2x, you get a bonus of 15 pieces of legendary savage gear or something like that, to make it a little easier to acquire the gear. The reason they don't hand out gear too often is because what it does is it limits the amount of time you're needed to be in the game. And on the majority of these mobile games, what they look for is a stat called audience retention, which is how many hours of the day you're actively looking at the screen of the game. And the higher that is, typically the higher percentage chance anyone has of basically breaking down and spending money due to the icebreakers, the pop-ups, etc. So giving out gear is something that they typically don't do too often. In fact, the only times we've really seen gear go out is as rewards for tournaments, which is Relentless, which not that many people use. And the newer clan versus clan at the absolute top tier gives out legendary savage gear. Isn't it weird that the absolute most in-game thing you can do in this entire game makes it where it drops savage gear, which you can just get from the Fire Knight? That's because the real in-game is acquiring those pieces of gears, acquiring gear with good secondaries. That's where the grind is on the game, and that's why they limit that almost as much as they do giving out sacred shards or void shards, for instance. You may find yourself like, I wish I had some more shards, but I bet you always find yourself wishing you had that right piece of gear for your character.